Wake Up with Jim and Saab is exclusively on Spotify.
If you want to start your own podcast, check out anchor.fm. And if you like the podcast, make sure to follow on Spotify.
Also, share your stories
And tag.
and tag us on at Wake Up with Jim and Saab on Instagram and at ano ba?
Di ko alam.
Anyway, ito na yung show. But before that, ito yung latest single ng Cheats, Hakbang. Stream it on Spotify. Watch the music video with Piolo Pascual on
Stream Hakbang,
YouTube.
Stream
Welcome to the Wake Up with Jim and Saab podcast.
We are Jim and Sab, and this is the podcast where we
Talk about where we champion real information. Today we're going to be debunking the funniest misconceptions about sex.
sex.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about
You
sex.
and me. Where does ano yung name? What's the name of the song?
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Really, that's the name of the song? Who's
So,
that?
I think we've said sex enough times for
I know
people
it's our first sexual podcast. So kaya gusto kong sulitin na we're saying
If this is on speaker and your parents can hear this, tell them you're getting informed about sex, okay?
I know
It's not a bad thing.
So we posted on our Facebook group and asked our pod kids about the weirdest things they heard about sex when they were younger. And in this episode, we're gonna do our best to debunk them.
Debunkers.
All right. Okay. But before we start, I want to talk about why do you think sex is so taboo and why is it whatever? The mere fact that we're a married couple, this is our first sex podcast.
I guess growing up in a Catholic
Yes.
country where you're told that you're gonna go to hell if you even think about sex before marriage, it makes it very hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's why aside from it being taboo, the mere fact that the lack of sex education in this country is so prevalent, diba? And it's so it's so troublesome for our country and our progress as a nation.
Sobra.
And and I think the magnitude kasi it's literally life and death.
Definitely. Life and death in a sense na, there could be diseases that could be passed on. Teenage pregnancy is not a joke. So that's what we're talking about when we say life and death. Not sometimes, but a lot of the times, teenage pregnancies don't end well kasi they're not ready, even biologically, to give birth to a child.
And actually, pinag-usapan nga namin to ni Saab na parang when Saab was, in the 2 times that she's been pregnant, we always go back to this conversation na, oh my God, it must be so hard to be 16 or 17 and to go through
Oh yeah.
something like this, diba?
Yeah.
And if especially, kaya shout out to all the single mothers, to go through it alone and to be a teenager, diba? At 16 or 17, you're thinking about the next soiree you're gonna go to.
Yeah.
Or what neoprint photo booth you're gonna go to.
Yeah. And not just nga biologically you're not ready. Most teenage pregnancies, diba? Parang you're also not mentally ready. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna say most. I think every teenage pregnancy. Kasi emotionally, mentally prepared. You're not really ready. But hats off talaga to those who talagang went through it all and kinaya nyo kasi ang hirap talaga niyan. And if we could prevent that from happening, then that would be a good thing.
Actually, meron naman akong personal experience in the lack of sex education and how it has affected people I know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So just to give a bit of a background, I grew up talaga in my extended family where the culture is Buntisan Fest.
Okay. Like on purpose?
It's parang kumbaga it was a achievement, and ako growing up, I was like, oh my God, please, wala akong mapubuntis. Ganon.
Hindi ka naman nakikipag-sex, di ba, Jim? First experience mo ng marriage, ng wedding natin, di ba?
Yeah. So, parang, hindi, pero I mean, that was like, that was the equivalent of, alam mo, makikidnap ka, dadalhin ka sa Hong Kong, tapos
okay.
paggising mo, wala ka ng paa at kamay.
God.
Like, that's what my parents would tell me. Like, wag kang lumayo sa mall kasi baka pag may kilala kami. Before Viber.
Damn, Papa Jerry and Mommy Ving.
I remember
it's like
one time, I just went to a chocolate thing, and then parang I left siguro, I wandered off, and then pagbalik ko, alam mo, kunento na sa akin na meron kaming family friend na yung pumikot sa mall, tapos pagising, wala nang paa at kamay na sa Hong Kong. Until now, nakatatak.
My gosh, it's like that episode in Arrested Development. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm not gonna dive into it if you guys haven't seen it.
So, well, the reason why I'm saying, kinukwento ko lang yun, because ganun nga, I mean, every month, parang a close cousin of mine na kaka-basketball lang namin or parang kakausap lang namin na sana makabili ako ng Xbox.
Oh.
Biglang next month parang, ay, by the way, nabuntis ko yung girlfriend ko. Ganon yung culture.
Wow.
So, and it was buntis and then get married. And yun nga, most of them, you know, like, at such a ripe age, you know, and like you don't even know who you are. You don't know who your partner is. You don't know what it means to be a teenager, what more being a man or a woman. So anyway, I mean, kaya ko nasabi it was lack of education because most of these people also were the ones who told me, a lot of them, na parang when I asked like, what happened? Kasi syempre, diba, again, like I said, a week ago, we were talking about sana may Metal Gear Solid.
Solid kung may solid.
Tapos biglang, ay, by the way, kakasal na kami next month. What? So,
Anyari indeed.
So, and then when I asked, like, what happened? And it was, and the funny thing is, very medical yung extended family ko. Kasi puro doktor. Pero iba-iba yung, because nga, again, I grew up, I was a kid in the 90s, diba? So parang, wala pa namang Google nun, wala pang kahit ano. Even ako, napagdaanan ko yun na parang, wala ka namang resources of information. I had one homeroom teacher that medyo ka-berks ko.
That you could ask questions to?
Yeah, like me and my friends would ask him.
That's
because
cool.
he was pretty cool. Pero mali-mali rin yung mga information niya. Because nga, again...
wala rin siyang alam.
Oh, parang...
Baka virgin siya.
So, well, it doesn't matter naman if you're a virgin or not. But I mean, I think the mere fact that it's not talked about, there is, before, it was very, how can you say, it was decentralized? Like, my tito said that you can have sex during period, immaculate ganon, bro. Diba? There's that notion. Or, withdrawal, pare.
Withdrawal is key.
Withdrawal is key, pare. So,
ang mahirap nga dito is, I think why this happens so much is because we're taught to just don't have sex. Don't have sex. Yeah. Don't have sex. Practice abstinence. And preaching that just obviously isn't the best way to go about it. Kasi
isn't enough, basically.
Isn't enough,
parang,
yes.
kumbaga, because there are much more, parang kumbaga, the world is changing. I think that's the key thing, no? The world is changing, so the sources of information and the opportunities for people to explore and whatever has, you know, exponentially grown. So you can't expect na the same thing that you were telling a bunch of, you know, like habang nagta-typewriter yung mga tao, na, hoy, wag ka mag-sex kasi baka mapunta ka sa Hong Kong tapos wala ka ng pat kamay. Diba? I mean, that won't work now. Kasi like, dude, Mom, I Googled it, and apparently if you have sex, you don't wake up in Hong Kong with no legs and arms. So,
I saw on Reddit that you're not gonna lose your limbs. So I think it's more important for us to promote safe sex. I think that's the more effective way to go about it.
Yeah. So again, minus your religious beliefs and whatever we're not criticizing that. What we're saying is the discussion and the information should be disseminated about what is proper sex, what is safe sex. Parang it doesn't matter, but just because you're saying naman na, hey guys, don't ay parang saying like, guys, hindi totoo yung withdrawal, may madideposit dyan, di ba? Parang by saying that may long-term fund yan. So kuwari, if kuwari sabihin yun.
It's so hard not to swear right now.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me.
So, just by doing that, you're not saying naman na, hey, diba? Parang you're not saying na, you're not saying have sex tomorrow, ha?
Yeah.
Diba? Para matry mo yung mga lessons na to.
Yeah.
So
just let it be easily available,
Yeah. So
not even easily available. Teach it in school.
Yeah, kasi you are leaving these children to the guidance of of titos and titas that also went through a whole lifetime of
Buntisan Fest.
Buntisan Fest, and they learned through Buntisan Fest. They didn't learn through science and whatever.
Jim, do you know, diba, we love metaphors. I came up with the best metaphor. It's like, no, it's not the best metaphor. Shucks.
Try it.
I am recanting my statement. But it's like throwing a teenager into deep waters.
Mm-hmm.
And then just letting them fend for themselves. Because that's what it is. When you reach a certain age, you're just going to get horny. That's...
yeah.
Parang, and then the sharks represent what?
Hot women?
And then, wala silang life jackets, needing contraceptives. Ooh. No, I'm sorry. But do you get what I'm saying?
So,
parang,
dapat? Hey, babato kita sa tubig pero kailangan meron kang life jacket, kailangan, di ba, ganun?
Or parang,
if we're working on that metaphor.
Well, parang ito, this is the thing. If it's like being on a boat and then these horny teenagers, sasabihin mo sila na parang, okay,
Stop humping the boat.
There's no chance na mahuhulog ka sa boat na to. So, hindi ka mahuhulog, okay? Hindi ka mahuhulog. But, merong chance.
Hindi, iba-iba.
Diba?
The metaphor is, hoy, wag ka tumalon dyan sa tubig kasi pag tumalon ka dyan, hala, wag.
Oh, ganon.
As opposed to, hey, if there ever comes a time na tatalon ka, you need a life jacket, you need a harpoon for sharks.
You need should be a very big harpoon, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean.
No, or as if I mean, sorry. Swimming lessons? I don't know.
Okay.
Enough with this
we're gonna
bad metaphor.
I think this is gonna be really fun. We're gonna talk about the misconceptions about sex, and we're gonna try to debunk them live, as in real time. But before that, let's take a break.
Did you know that cervical cancer is the second leading cancer among Filipino women ages 15 to 44 years old, with the leading cause being HPV or human papillomavirus? Guard Against HPV is an advocacy that raises awareness about the human papillomavirus or HPV. The thing is, anyone can have it. No one's exempted, and even men can get infected and unknowingly spread the virus to their partners and cause diseases such as cervical cancer in women. And so, it's important to keep our guards up on a serious infection such as this. Take that first step on being educated and find out how you can protect yourselves and your loved ones from this very serious infection. Go to @GuardAgainstHPV on Facebook and Instagram to learn more.
Okay, so before we share yung mga misconceptions that our pod kids have heard about sex, I'll share one of mine.
Okay.
Number one, a teacher once told me, and again, if you are at the office and somehow this is on a Bluetooth speaker, then what the hell are you doing? So he
At
told,
least mas marami may inform.
I'm gonna try to be as because I'm trying my best to make it as scientific as possible. But anyway, this person, this trusted mentor, said na to find out if baog ka, meaning if you're barren.
What's baog? Just kidding.
It's like an egg. So
Is that like the kalaban in Lord of the Rings? Sorry.
like you shall not puss. Okay. So he said na
You shall not come.
to find
Sorry.
you should in order to find out if you are barren or not, you ejaculate. This is for men,
Okay.
obviously. You ejaculate and then you look at the specimen and if it's buo, then
If it's buo-buo.
baog ka.
Or was he talking about the...
Sorry. Hindi, sorry. He said pala na that you have to time the moment that the specimen reaches the surface, and then kung tingnan mo yung buo and kung gaano kabilis siya matunaw.
Surface of what?
Of wherever you...
Ejaculate?
Yeah.
I really hope you guys were not naked when you were having this conversation.
Why would we be naked?
I don't know.
It's a teacher.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Or was he talking about the opacity?
Both. Hindi. It was the melting time.
Jeez. That is visual. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I wanted to ask him like, how thick is your cum?
do we debunk that? Do you know the truth about that?
It's not true.
Okay. Walang connection yon. You know what? I'm gonna Google stuff as we go along.
Okay, sige. So,
Ako ang narinig ko is, hindi daw niya pwede gamitin yung toilet kung saan umihi yung boyfriend niya kasi baka mabuntis siya.
okay.
And I knew it was not true. I told her that. So, yeah, that's one of the most
That's
ridiculous.
definitely not true.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing that
So
I've heard about sex.
if my teacher happened to ejaculate on a toilet and someone sat there and it seeped into the woman's, she could not get pregnant?
I think what I said was that if your boyfriend peed in the toilet, okay? I mean, don't come on the toilet.
As a pee. Okay. Yeah. Okay, definitely. Yeah. So, FYI, if you don't know, pee is different.
Yes. And also, because I'm going to be Googling these things right now, if, the FBI ever sees my history, it was for this.
Okay. So this one is doggy style will get you pregnant faster. What do you think, Sabi? Is it true or not?
Doggy style will get you pregnant faster. Actually, ang nakita ko is that there are ano man tawag doon, parang more effective positions than others. And ang doggy style mas nape-penetrate deeper into the cervix or something like that. But that does not really, parang hindi siya scientifically proven na na-affect yung kung gaano ka mas effective siya sa pregnancy.
Well, here, according to WebMD, one way to do that is to make sure that the fenis
The fenis is
goes into...
Sorry, this is our Catholic education.
Goes in
making
deep
us
during
uncomfortable.
intercourse.
Okay.
So yeah, parang so the sex styles are ideal for depositing the sperm right at the opening of the cervix. Missionary or guy on top or from behind, aka doggy style. Nakakatawa, WebMD from behind, aka Snoop Doggy style.
Snoop. WebMD says that. Sira. That's not true. That's a myth, Jim.
Okay. This is another one from our podkid. You can get pregnant daw while swimming.
Oh, I heard that
What do you
also
think?
from the same girl who told me about the peeing on sitting down on the toilet.
Okay.
I don't think so. Oh, here. Sperm are strong swimmers, but only when they're inside a body. They cannot survive for more than a few seconds in a swimming pool, especially when there's chlorine and a lot of chemicals or at the beach.
Huh.
Nakakatawa na parang, enjoy sa pool.
That's parang...
Sabay sa pool.
Ganda. Ang ganda. Ganda.
Okay.
Okay.
This one, kissing alone can make a woman pregnant. Okay, that's. I think when we were younger, as in talagang.
I never thought that.
I thought that was. Come on, Jim.
No,
Ah,
never.
talaga? Well, I thought that was. I thought that worked.
Okay. Obviously, we don't have to research.
That is not true.
Yeah, that's not true. Once you get your period, you can get pregnant just when a guy literally touches you.
Oh wow. Oh, that's okay. Again, that's not true.
That's obviously not true.
That's not true. You can not get pregnant by a guy touching you.
But if a penis touches you, it may be different.
Okay. Ito yung iba pang mga entries.
Okay.
Nung high school kami, nagkaroon ng instance leading to my peers and I talking about the possibility of getting pregnant nung pinapatong lang yung penis sa puwet. Honestly, sounds foolish now, but from a 15-year-old perspective, great question siya. Really opens a lot of issues regarding sex education in the country. The possibility of getting pregnant na pinapatong lang.
Yeah,
well,
like it's like what do you call that? Dry humping?
Dry humping, but if we're gonna get technical about it,
that's not dry humping because there are no clothes. No?
Yes, there would be no clothes, and then it's just a scientific thing na if the sperm gets close to your vagina, there will be it's a possibility.
The probability is small.
Very small.
But I think scientifically you cannot say that there is a absolutely zero possibility because if Michael Phelps yung
sperm.
Yeah. Okay, this one. I think this is really the one I really want to talk about. And
Okay.
fully relying on pulling out. Yun yung sinasabi ko kaninang withdrawal.
Okay.
Pulling out meaning as soon as if you feel that you're about to ejaculate, you pull out and you say, "Oh, okay, I did not deposit anything inside the vagina, so therefore
Beautiful ATM.
So so and dito talaga this is the one thing that some people, and most people still, dito sila natatrap. Or this is where they make a mistake. So based on Google, for one, it's hard to withdraw when you're in the throes of ecstasy. The pull-out method also doesn't provide protection against STIs. STIs? STDs. Infections. Okay.
Yes.
Pre-cum is another risk. This is the clear fluid.
Your teacher would know about that?
Yes, that's
Clear?
what he was on. This is the clear fluid that's released by the penis when a person
Why
becomes
did you say-
sexually aroused.
Save penis.
Most people only release a small amount and it doesn't typically contain sperm. But sperm cells lingering in the urethra from a recent ejaculation can mix with the precum. Ako, one more thing na tinuturo sa amin before, na if you ejaculate before having sex, then you're safe because there's no chance of pre-cum. FYI, to those who don't know, pre-cum basically is like before the big shebang, the
Penis.
it excretes na semen. So
No, clear fluid.
yeah, it's semen.
Nakalagay nga, it doesn't typically contain sperm.
Okay, whatever. But basta yun, nakakabundis yun. Yeah, so parang, and yun nga, I think the first one, yun nga, parang it's hard to withdraw when you're in the throes of ecstasy because if you're like, oh my God, now to become rational and pull out.
I think I heard that when I got pregnant. Oh my God. I'm kidding.
Even if you manage to nail your timing and pull out before ejaculating, even a tiny bit of the fluid can lead to pregnancy. So yun, confirmed.
Did we scare you enough? Don't have sex. Just kidding.
Yan. Ito, how about ito? Ito, I'm sure marami kang narinig about this. Sex for the first time.
Okay. The association of virginity among women with losing the hymen. Yes, some people believe that a lot of the older generation believe that the hymen is the proof of virginity, but that's not true because by riding a bike, you can tear your hymen.
Whoa!
Ito, here.
I didn't know
Having
that.
a stretched or torn hymen does not necessarily mean a woman has lost her virginity. The hymen can also stretch or tear quite easily before a woman has sex for the first time through activities such as horseback riding and other sports, using tampons, and masturbation. A woman may not know her hymen is stretched or torn because it does not always cause pain or noticeable bleeding. So, yeah. I actually, ewan ko ba? It's a real it's a real struggle for women, this whole virginity thing. Kasi parang there is such a big to do, especially for Filipinos, about virginity. Not gonna get into it, maybe it's for another podcast. But here's another myth, is that girls will bleed the first time we do it. Some women will bleed after sex for the first time while others will not. Both are perfectly normal. A woman may bleed when she has penetrative sex for the first time because of her hymen stretching or tearing. But it's not the case for everyone. Are you learning a lot from this podcast? Ito, isa pa. Ito, yes, like ko naririnig to. Parang when parang some people can, I remember gym in college, parang some guys were talking about how obvious that a girl has had sex or not by looking at their behind. Have you heard that?
No.
Well, good for you. Ito, sabi nga, yung isang rinig niya is, after having sex for the first time, a woman's hips will look different, parang mas may curve. Here's the myth buster. Having sex doesn't make your hips get wider. In fact, there's zero connection between sexual activity and body growth. Changes in your body, like your hips or breasts growing, are things that often happen naturally during puberty. And siguro that's just the case kasi when you're going through bodily changes, that's also when you're exploring, and maybe, that's when you have sex for the first time.
Yeah. Ito, nakakakinis daw ng balat yung sperm. Kaya G lang dapat sa facial. Okay, here's the scientific myth buster. While semen may contain ingredients that can benefit skin, the small quantity of these ingredients is unlikely to provide any benefit. Putting semen on the skin or consuming it also carries the risk of developing an allergic reaction and sexually transmitted infections.
Grabe, alam mo may ganyan belief about your first period, ha? When you have your first period, you put it on your face.
Whoa.
Para daw gumanda yung skin mo. I don't get that.
So yung placenta thing, totoo yun?
What?
Di ba yung women who give birth, they
eat drink
the placenta?
I think there's truth in that, but also, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Kasi technically parang, I get why people would believe that sperm is good for the face. Kasi it's like, that's a potential human being. So you're putting it on your face.
Well, the placenta was a life-giving thing. So
that's true. Okay. So,
after sex, magpanty daw agad ang babae kasi kakabagin. Baka kailangan mag-burp ng ano mo. ng caps.
Baka kailangan mag-doggy style para mautot.
Queefing yun, Jim. Okay.
Okay, so I think the most important thing naman about these myth busters is that most of the mistakes that, for example, yung withdrawal, itong parang, oh shit, sulitin ko na, mag-facial na rin ako. Parang it's that's why it's important to bust these myths, because the biggest or the most problematic consequences are our health, diba? And the potential to get STDs or infections. Ako personally, like, I'm so, this campaign about HPV. I had no idea that men
Could also
could get HPV. And parang it's such a simple thing to do for men, or to ask of men to be vaccinated, 'di ba? And parang anyway, so I think it's your responsibility as to because nga we have tons of information and tons of resources, but kami, we still, that's why we'd like to end by really pushing for even more education for the younger people who, again, like Sab said, they're thrown into the water of horniness.
of sharks.
Yeah, and
Horny sharks.
they won't have time to decipher and really obtain the information unless it's fed to them.
Yes.
Diba?
Tapos it's their choice na, diba?
Yeah.
Parang,
And yun nga, parang there's nothing in school, diba, from grade school to college that even share any methods of contraception, like wearing how to wear condoms properly. Kasi buti pa kaya sa States, diba, like super bad. Like, they and all those movies that they show in the US, they put the condom on the banana, how to put it properly, because again, lots and lots of guys want to do the right thing. They want to wear contraception. They don't know how.
yeah.
And it's not like they had the time to, buy it on their own and practice it, because nga, tabu nga dito. So if you're like a 14-year-old, you can't go to a convenience store and say, hey, paing condom just to practice on your banana.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, I really wish that sex education would be the norm here. Kasi all of these misconceptions, the fake news, that's contributing to people being unhappy. I mean,
yeah, and
basically,
actually, we can relate it nga to what's happening with COVID.
yeah.
The reason why that the problem can't be solved is because people are not listening to science. But
and a lot of misinformation.
A lot of misinformation, but the difference is, at least itong sex education, there's tons and tons of science that can help. We know now. We know what's supposed to happen. We know you have years and decades and of data, and the most important thing is that people will actually have access to this information.
You know what, guys? There are a lot of resources out there. There are many sex-positive podcasts out there, and websites that you can use to research more information. Most especially, you should definitely contact and consult with your healthcare provider for more information and guidance. Especially for the girls there, please don't be afraid to go book an appointment with an OB and talk to your partners about what you're thinking.
Yeah. Okay. So do your part. Let's talk about sex, baby.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.